There are some times where you can slip alcohol in and you're still going to be able to metabolically switch. So let's discuss what those times would be and how we can evaluate alcohol in general. Dr. Mindy here, and on this video, we're going to talk about alcohol and what you can drink and not drink if you want to lose weight. So if you're new to my channel, I just want to say welcome. I am here teaching millions of people how to start to build the fasting lifestyle so that you can benefit from fasting. And a part of that is understanding the things we do when we eat and we drink that affect our fasting windows. So I just want to say welcome, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. And those of you that share my videos out, just massively grateful for you. Okay, alcohol. So, this is going to be a dense conversation. So let me kind of give you a new way to look at alcohol. There are definitely alcohols that'll make fat burning very difficult. It'll make your health very difficult. But then there are some alcohols that actually work with a fasting lifestyle that actually keep you in a ketogenic state. So I want to talk about both of those. The first thing to know is that with any alcohol, you are stressing the liver. So the liver is your number one fat burning organ. So as long as alcohol is on the scene, the liver is going to shut down fat burning production. So if you are struggling with your weight, if you're really learning the metabolic switching, you're struggling with your fasting lifestyle, and you feel like you're doing everything, I'm going to ask that maybe it's time to remove all kinds of alcohol. Alcohol and fat burning typically don't go hand in hand. The second challenge that we have when we drink is that your liver can't break down estrogen. This is really hard for menopausal women because we're on this wild ride with estrogen. And so if you're starting to see changes to your hair, this really goes for you guys that are losing hair. If you notice your skin's changing, if you're struggling with mental clarity, which is a sign of that estrogen going too low, or hot flashes or insomnia, that's where it's a little hard to be drinking even the good stuff I'm about to show you, and because your liver is going to struggle with the breakdown of estrogen. And the last part, that alcohol, the negative part of alcohol, and then we're going to the positive and how to navigate this, is that it can create a leaky gut. It can cause a lot of damage to the microbiome. A leaky gut is the number one reason that people's energy tank. So if you're really struggling with energy, that would be the third warning sign. We need to avoid alcohol. Now, having said all that, there are some times where you can slip alcohol in and you're still going to be able to metabolically switch. So let's discuss what those times would be and how we can evaluate alcohol in general. So the first thing that I do when I look at alcohol is I ask myself, what was the original food? So obviously we know that wine was grapes, vodka is potatoes, tequila is agave, which is a cactus, and you can go back and see the video that I did on the different glycemic indexes of sugar, so that'll help you understand agave better. And then we have the grains. So we have the beer is coming from wheat, and we have things like bourbon, whiskey, the malt liquors that is coming from a grain. So you first want to identify, where is it coming from? Now, with that, we can go and look at the glycemic index of that original source before it was fermented. These are going to be the worst. Anything that comes from a grain is going to be the hardest to get you in and out of sugar burner and fat burner. So staying away from these is great. With beer, gosh, I love beer. I don't love a beer belly. You can try some things like there's some great gluten-free beers. Omission put out a good one. This is another one, Glutenberg, that we had in our household, that whenever I drink a beer, which is very rarely, but if I do, I'll have a gluten-free beer. So that is another option, less grain, less gluten, less for leaky gut situation, which is why you'd want to mind that. Now, with the hard alcohol, again, let's just go back when we got vodka and tequila. Let's go back to those original sources. They can be good at certain times. They're going to be lower in the glycemic index. Just make sure, if you can, get them organic so you're not getting the chemicals in those. Another hack I want to give you that my friends at Element taught me, I can't take credit for this one, is that they made a couple of these packets to be mixers for hard alcohol so that we can keep your glycemic index low. You could do vodka soda and put a pack. This one's watermelon. They actually made the lemon habanero and the mango chili Element pack is made to be a mixer. So you're putting those minerals back in, which is awesome. And you're making sure that you're improving the taste without a sugary mixer, and you're sticking to a lower glycemic alcohol. So that's a fun way to do some of these harder alcohols, especially with vodka and tequila. Now let's talk about wine. That's the title of this video. With wine, not all wines are made equal. There's a couple of things you want to look for. First, you want to look at the percentage of alcohol, like how much alcohol is in there. You're going to want to keep that percentage low. When you look at a lot of whites, you're going to see that you can find a lot of white wine that's lower at about 11%, 12%. That would be a lower sugared wine. The second thing you want to look at is you want to make sure that you're looking at have chemicals been sprayed on it. So I live like an hour south of Napa Valley. We used to go up to Napa all the time. Unfortunately, many of the Napa Valley wines tend to be more heavily sprayed. So those pesticides, that glyphosate, is not only going to cause a leaky gut, but remember, as chemicals come into your system, your liver is going to now it has to work on the alcohol, it has to work on the chemicals, and many times it will store those chemicals more as fat. So if you are going to do red wine or any wine, make sure that it's biodynamic. That's a key word. And make sure that it's lower sugared and that it hasn't been sprayed. When we go to a restaurant, we literally ask these questions. So typically the French, the Italian wines are going to be less sprayed because those countries tend to have more rigid protocols around what you can spray on the grapes. Little side trick. Now, the other thing with red wine that I want you to know is that there are places like Dry Farm Wines is one of our absolute favorite, where they have actually vetted the wine for us. So they've measured that it has no sugar, it has no chemicals. And so this is what we drink in my household is Dry Farm Wines, and has a little label on it, so I know. I get it. If you want to know more about it, just put Dry Farm Wines in the comments. We actually get it delivered to our house, and this is the avenue that we stick with to make sure that we're always drinking clean wine. I feel like wine is one of those things where it could really go either way. If you're doing a really heavy cab or zin that's been sprayed with a lot of chemicals, that's going to shut down fat burning capability more. It's going to store fat more. Whereas if we lean into these biodynamic, organic, natural wines, we have less of the chemicals, which is going to make it easier on the liver, less fat storage. So if you want to know more about Dry Farm Wines, just put Dry Farm Wines in the comments and my team will send you a link. But that's alcohol. So if you're succeeding at metabolic flexibility, follow the rules I just gave you. If you're struggling with your ketones, you're struggling with burning fat, I would say skip it. But once you get metabolically flexible, there is a way to lean into alcohol and enjoy your drink and burn fat too. So as always, let me know your favorite drink. I'm kind of curious, and let me know if you've tried the Element mixer, because this one is a game changer for a lot of the patients that I'm working with. So as always, I hope that helps.